the Wake LRC reentry case manager and also one of the co-leads for this employment subcommittee group, as well as Miss Melinda Todd, who's the strategic initiatives director. All right. Um, okay, there we go. Okay, so before we get started into the bulk of today's meeting, just want to remind you that this meeting is being recorded, and that also if you can type your name and put your contact info in the chat, that'll be super helpful. We can definitely keep you in the loop. If you know of anyone who might want to attend the employment subcommittee meetings, um, feel free you can reach out to them. They can contact us directly or send in a link if you like so that we can all get connected and do this work together. And of course, if you have something to say, you feel free to unmute or you can raise your hand if you'd like. Okay. And give me 1 second. Sorry, hold on. I need to have two screens going here. Um, okay. I'm just gonna flow because I don't have the agenda in front of me. So Melinda, if you just keep me on track.
Okay. We'll keep each other between the lines.
Okay, cool. All right. So this first, I guess, piece of information or that we like to let you all know because we are one big Wake Local Reentry Council. And this is a huge body of work with different members and organizations who are involved with us. And recently, we had the dear Miss Bernadette McAllister. She recently passed. So we just want to take a moment to just acknowledge her for all the work that she's done on the council. She was the supportive services chair from 2020 to 2021. She was very passionate. She was out in the community. She educated people about diabetes prevention. She also was over the Southeast Raleigh Community Center, and also a Wake Tech instructor. But she was definitely a part of this work, and just continue to keep her family in your thoughts and prayers. All right, so I know this is a lot on this slide here because last year in 2021, we were brainstorming, we were coming up with different things that we could do as a team, as a group to focus on employment and employment solutions, employment strategies to help assist individuals who are returning home, who have been justice involved. So just to do a recap of 2021, some of the things that we discussed that we wanted to do were one was to have a career event for individuals who are justice involved. And of course, we had to kind of put that on hold because of COVID and different outbreaks and trying to logistically put that together and then make it, if we did something virtually, to make sure that people could access it or learn the platform ahead of time, because we know that everybody's computer literacy level is different. So that's something that we still want to accomplish, but it's no longer at the top of our list as it was last year. Another thing that we did in 2021 as well, I gotta take a breath with this mess, um, was to develop a list of employers who are background friendly. And I specifically started working on that. Some individuals had given me information about different employers. So I still do have that list available. And that was just our plan of action just to get started, was to develop the list. We do have it on Google Drive. And some individuals who have already been connected have access to it. So that was another thing that we're doing. And then the third that from our last meeting was September 23rd of 2021. And we discussed a employer roundtable, developing that, getting together maybe 3 to 5 employers who we could talk to ask questions and just start having the conversation of the need to hire individuals who are justice involved, how it can benefit both the individual as well as the employer. So that's kind of where we stopped September of 2021. And I think it would just be best, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, to kind of just pick up from there. And move forward with that direction.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I also noticed I think we actually have a couple of new people, which is wonderful. So I don't know if it might be good to actually go around and kind of introduce and for people who don't know everyone to kind of check in, and then us to learn any of the new people.
Okay.
Or I could, if you want to. We have a couple of phone numbers, so I'm not totally sure. Maybe we'll start with them. So we have a 436 number. If you want to unmute. Is that Carolyn Perry?
That's not my number, but yes, I am.
Go ahead and jump in. I don't know if people might be struggling to unmute.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. Hey.
Sorry about that. Mute the microphone here is a little iffy. Demetrius Pulley with North Carolina Department of Public Safety. Serve as a policy analyst. Great to see you all, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carolyn Perry. I am a employment outreach coordinator with the New Start, which is a reentry program serving Vance, Halifax, and Franklin counties.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samir Power. I am the director for the Culinary Hospitality Program at Wake Tech, which is the Workforce CE division. Thank you.
Great to have you.
And I'm Megan Eilenberger. I'm with Dress for Success Triangle, and we serve women or folks who identify as women in the Triangle and soon to be also Wilson County.
Oh, cool.
Oh, great.
I'm Pamela Davis from Volunteers of America, Chesapeake and Carolinas. We cover 62 counties. Our office covers 17, and Wake County happens to be one of the counties that we cover. And I'm the benefits specialist for that particular program.
I'm not sure if we're doing new people introductions or not, Donna and Melinda.
Everyone.
It's okay. Tell them who you are.
I'm Lenarda Williamson, and these are my colleagues, Donna, Natalie, Melinda. I'm a part of the Wake Local Reentry Council.
Well, I'll jump in. My name is Dennis Jarman. I'm the Senior Adult Programs Case Manager at Step Up Ministry here in Raleigh. Work with people in life skills and employment. I am going to be the one exclusively handling employment for the foreseeable future. So good to be back amongst everyone who I've seen before and the new faces.
Great. Is that everyone? Or Natalie, did you want to say something?
Hello, everyone. I'm Natalie. I was trying to wait till all the new people went. I'm Natalie Maba, the Capital Area Reentry Manager. Good to see you all. So many new faces. I didn't see the faces, but the voices I heard, and it's exciting to have fresh new ideas. So welcome.
Great. So thank you all again for just being here. And basically, we're just kind of we're gonna take off in a sense and just kind of pick up where we left off in September, because we do want to keep moving and also start putting in some implementations in 2022. So as I mentioned, we started talking about a employer roundtable. And Melinda, can you just give us kind of like a recap of what an employer roundtable is?
Yeah, it was, as Donna was saying, it was an idea to try to learn more about employers that we know are offender friendly, so they can give us some insight. One, just often you have them together, you have a series of questions, but you also kind of want to have a conversation going. So I think part of what we want to learn about is what have been some of the benefits that you've had employing people with records, justice involved, returning citizens. What have been some of the challenges? And then also, I think the other thing is what would help us as groups that are trying to expand opportunities for employment? What's something that we could do that they think would work well with like their colleague employers? What would be appealing? What would make a good case as we're going out there and engaging more employers?
Okay.
I could,
And-
sorry, I could provide more detail, I think. But
Oh, okay.
I was like, I think that kind of covers it, but we've done them in the past. It's been, gosh, what, Natalie, it was right before you started. So over 3 years ago, unless I'm totally lost my sense of time, which is very, very possible.
We had one right when I started, probably in 2020 we had a small one right there in Tillery.
I think, yeah, or even it was fall night. Anyway,
yes,
we had one a couple years ago. But it was a really great event. I think we had about 4 or 5 employers. We had a good discussion, and it was very, it wasn't saying, hey, can you hire our people right now? It was more just trying to learn about what works, what doesn't, and having an open discussion, and then also really trying to engage them and helping us reach out to other employers and to be honest, what are some reasons why it's hard for you to hire returning citizens? What are some of the restrictions? I remember we had a construction employer that says some of his contracts don't allow him to have anyone with a record on the property. And so working around some of those restrictions and barriers. And so it's really about just having a good open conversation. But then at the end of it, what you want is, one, you want to have employers more engaged in what we're trying to do. But then the other piece of that is also having some strong ideas and strategies of how we're going to reach out to more employers, and what are some of the tips and training and guidance we can give to our clients to make them more job ready. Now I'm done.
Okay. Yes. So with that, we have identified at least 3 employers that we would like to connect with regarding developing the employer roundtable, and that is Wake County Government, City of Raleigh, and I believe the state of North Carolina, because we know that those big entities, that they are now accepting applications as well as being willing and open to hire individuals who are justice involved. So we do want to start with those 3, as well as potentially get at least 2 more. So I'll open it up to the group to ask, are there any other employers that we should consider to be a part of the employer roundtable? Or maybe even if it's an organization who does focus on employment, that might be helpful too.
I might have an idea. So I deal exclusively with hotels, restaurants, and the food truck industry. All of them are, I get 20 calls a day, from Angus Barn all the way to the topmost hotels and restaurants. My biggest thing is, again, I understand that they are coming in from the re-entry is what I'm understanding. As long as we show them that they have the skills that they need to perform the job, a lot of them are now either desperate because, I have food truckers calling me and say, we are ready to pay them $15 an hour easy, plus gratuity. But I like to send people who have been trained through my program before I feel comfortable. But these are some areas that are there that are looking for people that can perform. Hotels also are being, how do you say that? They are being flexible in that little gray area that, okay, we may not be able to put them in a room environment, but there are some other duties like banquets, food and beverage setup, culinary that they may be able to use. Again, as long as we train them and they are job ready is the right word. So yes.
Okay, so that sounds good. So would that kind of be like you would be the connection between um the employer and the job seeker? Or do you think like the employer, the ones that you possibly work with, will be willing to come to the table to have a conversation and learn more about the benefits of hiring someone with a criminal background?
Correct. So yeah, I mean, we do want to put something forth where they do see a value, but again, we want to give them an added value saying, okay, these are the benefits. It could be tax. I don't know what benefits. I need to fill myself up in that information, whether they get tax benefits or federal benefits or, but from our end, what we will tell them is these are skilled employees. They've been certified, they've been trained, and what can you do to hire them? So yes, we do work with folks like those, the employers, I mean.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that.
No worries.
Does anybody else have any thoughts as far as like the employer roundtable and just making that connection?
Perhaps I'm not sure if this has already been done, but even on their website, Ashley Christensen Restaurant Group seems to be a group where they are. I think if I can use the verbiage and whatnot, at one point, at least on the website, it said they were looking for bad asses to apply. So I guess the point being there, though, is something where they would be willing to look at persons who have been just as involved, persons who have compromised backgrounds, whichever language you want to use, as long as it's someone who probably comes in and presents well and is interested in their industry. I do know for a fact that I believe in February, they're even looking at starting internship programs for things that it is they could offer to their potential, to persons interested in getting into the field. I'm not sure about how long it is or anything at the present moment, but that is something they're looking at doing as well. So AC Restaurant Group would probably be a good one to contact.
And do you have a connection with them?
There is a gentleman, I have to get his information back. His name is Colin. But Colin is a good person to reach out to on that behalf to find out. Silverstein, Colin Silverstein, or it might be Silverstein, but let me look that email address back up, and that could be someone to follow up with. And phone number.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I mean, we've with that, just what I'm thinking. So if we start there, just maybe with these different employers and organizations, then we want to develop some questions that we can ask them potentially. So in our last meeting, some of the questions that we said we would ask, and Melinda, I think I have that on the agenda. So
okay, I'll pull that up. Oh wait, I have it up. I just have too many windows around. Yeah, so what are the benefits was one of the questions that came up. And then, yeah, so I think that was one of the big questions that came up. So maybe there's room for some more questions that we could think about that would be helpful to the group.
Okay, and when we say benefits, we were not just looking at it one-sided. Of course, we definitely want to benefit the job seeker, but as well as, what are the benefits for the employer? So that was twofold. And then there was also a question previously to potentially ask, and that was, like, is there room for growth? Because I mean, just like us, we want to be able to advance in our positions and in our careers. So we just didn't want to have the individual stay in maybe an entry level position, but there are lots of justice involved individuals who have bachelor's, masters, have owned businesses before, and if they're just given that opportunity, you know, they can step into those roles. So we also wanted to ask employers about that.
Mhm. I think another question would just to have an honest discussion about, you know, what have been some of the uh, barriers to hiring people, and it might not necessarily, you know, probably there's some structural barriers getting people approved, but just, you know, have they had any issues that maybe we could do some training around?
And to even go a step further with that, I definitely agree with that. I think probably also asking a question, because there could be an organization that is background friendly, so to speak, but still have limits. So even asking, are there certain types of offenses that would still preclude a person from being engaged and involved with your organization? Would probably be a good one to ask. You know, because it could be, yeah, we're open, but if it's this level of violence or whatever, then we wouldn't necessarily want to continue down that path.
Yeah. I remember that was an issue when we were working with Amazon. They couldn't have people who had, shoot, I can't remember, but like robbery on their record.
And then maybe even the question, again, because sometimes it may not necessarily be the offense itself, but sometimes it may be the time for when it is it occurs. So something to find out about a timeline that might be acceptable. If it's beyond this point, is that something where the consideration comes back into play?
This is Lenarda. I wanted to add, I'm glad you shared that, Dennis, but I think there's also a connection to our expungement clinic with legal aid and using that certificate of relief resource while a person waits until they are eligible. So I think there's a connection there as well.
And Leonardo or someone else can probably even jump in on this and everything, because I remember the certificate of relief being something that was really trumpeted when it was first coming out and everything. And then it doesn't seem like it's something where persons are talking about that. The key seems to be expungement, as opposed to certificate of relief, which is actually something from the court system saying, hey, this is a good person, this is a person who's been doing well. Is that something where we're finding that there has been some gravity given to that? Is that something where it's been given more consideration, or is that still a back burner thing that people don't really utilize as much?
I'm going to share what I've heard from the attorney that does our expungement clinic, and that's Ayanna Robinson. When she gives a presentation, what she shares is that it's something, the certificate of relief is something that's not widely known about, and so it's not frequently used, but we address that by putting it out there. We make it more visible so more people are aware of it, and it becomes the norm, just as a common term as expungement, and then people are more aware of it. And she'll also share that what it does is buys you 5 minutes to explain your story. That's what Ayanna would say. So hopefully that addresses your question. Again, it's not widely known about, but we're addressing that by letting folk know that they need to be asking for that while they are waiting to be eligible for expungement.
Thank you. It's one of the things that I've been trying to push a little bit further and harder with. I haven't heard it as much as from when I worked for Durham County government with the reentry program there, but I thought it was something that could be a solid tool for persons to know about as well. Thank you.
This is Carolyn Perry, and as I said, I am the outreach coordinator with a reentry program. And what I have found when it comes to the certificate of relief is that most employers who are interested in it, and very few know about it, and a lot of times we don't talk about it as a tool, but the more professional level the job is, the more the employer is interested in something like that. But at the levels that I work with, mostly labor type jobs and entry-level jobs. Most of the employers, with the warehouse associates and forklift operators and those types of things, they are not in this particular workers market. They are not necessarily, that doesn't necessarily change anything in terms of the qualification of the client at this point. I have one employer who called me and he said, now, Ms. Perry, I want you to know now, we don't know, even though we drug test them, we don't care about, marijuana anymore. Now don't pass that along. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I definitely think things have changed a lot in the past couple of years.
This may be getting a little bit too in the weeds, but I would be interested to hearing from employers a little bit about what they're training for their employees and sort of, I don't know if it would fall under DEI efforts, as far as, I don't want them just to place people with backgrounds or those who are formerly incarcerated just to place them, and then they're already facing so many barriers and challenges, and then just to have to work in a very face all the stereotypes that they face. So what is the company doing to welcome them and provide a welcoming, supportive work environment? I'd be interested in hearing that and knowing which employers have really good supportive programs around that. And also, and then this is completely different. What employers provide professional development for employees, and education and training.
Yeah, that first one is really interesting because it could be even something that we could replicate if we have an employer that's doing a good job with that. Often employers are more interested in hearing what other employees are doing than what we think they should be doing.
Again, a little piece here for me when it comes to working with employers. Typically, if an employer, like I'm working with several companies that have the individual that I'm working with is a returning citizen themselves. So because they are familiar with some of the processes involved in hiring people with criminal backgrounds, they have put in place various things based again on them. This one particular guy, he was incarcerated for quite a while. He got a job. They gave him all of these opportunities. He's now, very successful, works in their HR department. So he has put in place various programs, like one is a mentor support program, one is a transportation assistance program, but he put those things in place because he remembered when he was initially hired how difficult how those barriers impacted his ability to gain employment.
Could we get that guy on the employment roundtable? That sounds perfect.
I mean, really.
He's done very well. He went in as a warehouse associate, and now he works in the human resource department. But I'll be glad to ask him. I'll make a note.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any other questions or suggestions that you guys think we should ask an employer?
This is Irene Lawrence from DPS.
Okay.
In my previous role as SRCC coordinator, we did make like an employer bulletin that kind of lists different like precautions that employers can take, like the bonding program and other things. And we also have a hiring pledge that has different like types of not training, but like fair chance hiring practices. And that one never quite got off the ground. It because there wasn't the staff at Commerce to kind of keep it going, but that does have a good like a good collection of those things. So anyway, I can share those if that's helpful.
Yes, please.
Yeah, may not be statewide, but we could do it countywide.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So this is definitely some good, valuable information and content that we can work with. Um, so I guess now let's kind of talk about a plan of action. And there's not necessarily any pressure on you guys because we know you guys already have enough stuff going on. But do you think that it would be best for us to call these individuals or send them an email? What should be our next step, you think?
And you're speaking about the resources we just talked about?
Yes, so we've identified, I believe, 4 employers that we could reach out to get the employer roundtable
Oh,
going. And just want to know kind of like what should be our initial step in doing that. Should we contact them by phone or email, or should we compose some kind of email that we all can agree on and send out? What would that look like, or what are you guys thinking? Okay, let me ask you a different way. Okay, so like say for instance, Megan or Carolyn, you guys work with employers. So if you were meeting a new employer or trying to engage a previous employer, what would you do?
right now, because of the workers market, most of the folks that I talk to in human resources are incredibly busy. Soliciting and recruiting. So the good news there is that, you know, they do return my call, and maybe just to keep our message consistent, we might start off with some type of written invitation, but at some point in time, we will need to put a call in to actually reach them to follow up on the information that they got. But certainly if we want to keep a consistent message and be sure that we're all talking the same narrative, we can start out with something in a written form, but at some point in time, we'll need to follow that up with a phone call.
Okay, and I'm seeing a lot of head nods on that as well as thumbs up. So we're in agreement there. Okay.
And I can't remember, Don. I mean, obviously, if we're talking about the person that Carolyn knows that'd be most effective, you know, we could send an email from the LRC and then she could follow up with a phone call. For those local government contacts, did we have people here who had those contacts, or we would just recognize they would be good ones to reach out to? And I just can't remember.
Say that again.
So we had three other potential employers that we wanted to reach out to, and City of Raleigh, State of North Carolina, and Wake County government. I just wondered if we had anyone in the group that had a connection, or if we just needed to do some hunting on our end to make, because I think Carolyn's right. You get the email out there so they know what we're talking about, but then follow up where we can kind of pin them down. So I'm just wondering.
I'd like to chime in.
Sorry. Go ahead.
How's it? I'm sorry, I'm late. I was from one meeting to the next. And so I don't know, you may have covered this already, but what Carol and I did, and initially we met with the Chamber of Commerce, and so you get that contact person because they're connected with the major employers, and if you can get to present to them, you have a wide audience, and out of that presentation, you'll get those that are interested, you know, so you can have that one-on-one contact.
Okay, that's a great idea. I think since we work under Wake County government, I'm sure we can definitely contact somebody. But as far as the, state of North Carolina, I work at the NC Works Career Center, so I could probably reach out to some folks here to get some contact information. And then I'm not quite sure on the city of Raleigh, but I could do some research too.
Yeah, we can definitely find someone. It's always like so great if you know somebody's name and you can call them up and, you know, you've got that instant connection. But if we need to find it, I have no doubt we can. I just wanted to throw it out there in case someone already had like a good connection.
And something else we did, when we have people that are in companies that we already know about, we ask them to ask their boss, would they be interested in hearing about our program?
Mhm.
And we got contact that way. And we always have a format when we go in and meet with them. Actually, Carol and I met with an employer this week, and we started out by the same thing. What problem are you trying to solve? And we listened. Well, I know we didn't get there yet. We're just talking about the initial contact. Yeah, so actually, we asked for a tour and a tour of the plant, and that got us in the door.
That's great.
Okay, great. So, and Melinda, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So, what we can do as far as this point here regarding building the employer roundtable, we can compose. I'm happy to compose, rough draft it. And then when we come back together, or maybe in between, send it out for recommendations or suggestions to kind of tailor that message. Does that sound good? Okay.
That sounds great. Is there anyone in particular, or we could just send it out to the whole group, and if anyone has edits or things that you've found work, just to send them back to us. And then I would think we'd reach out to them between meetings, and then maybe by the next meeting we can start, well, I don't know, that way in the next meeting we can start nailing down details.
Right. When is the next meeting, Melinda, this is Carolyn. When is our next meeting?
Is it March 24th? I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see.
Have we invited any employers to the roundtable?
You're right, Melinda. It's March 24th at 2:00. I'm sorry, I was shaking my head.
March 24th. Okay.
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, James.
Oh, okay.
Our next step, I think, is, and I know you came in late, but just to kind of catch up, is that our first step is to do kind of a smaller roundtable to start talking to employers, helping us develop our strategy, like what are the talking points that are going to work, and then go on to like have that bigger outreach and start, hopefully as some of these employers would help us as well, but doing that bigger outreach to both employers, and then again thinking back to that bigger goal we have of doing a career fair down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I can tell you what they were excited about when we spoke to them was the fact that once people are employed with them, we stay in contact with them. We do the job coaching, and we provide the mentorship, because we know a lot of employees are sort of shell shocked. They have an image of returning citizens. So letting them know that, they may be just as involved, but they're job ready, because the assessment that we do, and the support that they get is a big winning point. And also the benefits. Carolyn does a great job in talking about the tax credits, but the big companies, they're not really interested in that as much, but they're interested in the bonding and we also had a person that we was working with. I think it was in Wilson, and we said, there was a brother team that owned the tire shop, and we connected one of our participants there, and they were sort of shy about it. So we say, if there's any like disciplinary or problems like that, you know what? You don't have to deal with that. We're going to talk to them, so you don't have that on your shoulders, and you can worry about your company, not worry about the, interacting or doing corrective action on their part.
So maybe an additional question here on what James is saying is also, what kind of training or preparation do you think would be good for someone to have before you hire them?
Yeah, Melinda, they love that question. They give them some buy-in to what actually, needs to occur. And so, yeah, that's a huge win-win when you pose that question, especially for your smaller employers. Now, the larger companies, they are not necessarily interested in a lot of value added. They just want good, reliable workers. But when you start looking at smaller businesses employing less than 100, and even micro businesses, at around the 25 to 10 mark, they love value added things like asking them what they need, getting them involved, in how you make selections for candidates for them to interview and things like that.
Also, support like transportation, because retention is everyone's concern. And we help them get there if we need to.
Okay, this is really great. So just to recap real quick, we've been discussing about the employer roundtable and how we're going to get that off the ground. We've identified at least 3 or maybe 4 employers that we would like to target first to get started, as well as some questions that we would ask them. And then next step is to compose a rough draft written email, and then share it with the group. And Melinda, can you tell me? Okay, great. Can you tell me what was the next item?
Subcommittee co-chair opportunity.
Okay, great. So previously we had 2 co-chairs who were with us for the 2020-2021, and who were Dominique Goodman and Jeff Sakharov, but they had to step aside due to personal reasons and responsibilities. So we just want to open it up to the group. There's no pressure at all whatsoever. But if you'd just like to step up to be a lead with the group, of course, Melinda and I, we do kind of the admin piece of the group and keep the group on track and make sure that it's progressive. But if you're really passionate about seeing this employment subcommittee grow and taking us to the next level, you can feel free to be a co-chair. So it'll be like a co-lead. So if we had 2 people, you guys could rotate, or even if there's one person who would like to step up, you don't have to let us know right now if you're interested in that. You can send us an email and go from there, but no pressure.
And if you have more questions or you want to learn more about the responsibility, me or Donna would be happy if you want to have a call and we can talk through it. Again, like Donna said, we really do the background work, but we'd love to have more leadership.
All right. And what was next?
I see James Johnson has his hand raised.
Oh, no, that's James Johnson just forgot to put his hand down. Thank you for reminding me.
No, I think he's volunteered.
Oh, my plate is like this.
Yeah, no, we completely know everyone's very busy, but we do appreciate if someone does feel that they can devote that time and energy. We would really appreciate it.
Melissa, I'm sorry, calling Melinda. So I will give it some consideration. Let me check to see. And so in terms of time commitment, there's this meeting that's monthly, and anything else?
Yeah, so usually there's at least an email or a check-in, the week before the meeting, just to make sure that we're on the same page. And then at our overall LRC meeting, a report out just to let everyone know what the committee's been doing.
Okay, I'll consider it, but don't put me in.
And I will say that we usually type up the summary. So really at that LRC meeting, it'd really just be reading an email.
Melinda, and I heard Carolyn say something. I just wanted to clarify. This meeting is not monthly, Carolyn. This meeting is every other month. And we do take a break in July. So it'll be 5 subcommittee meetings a year. However, you or the co-chair, vice chair, would also be responsible for reporting out, as Melinda said, doing one of the 4 times a year large council meetings. So I may have gotten you back down to monthly. Sorry. I haven't got you there.
No, only 9 times. So 5 meetings and 4 re-entry council meetings. So 9 times a year.
Okay, yeah. Okay, not to me thinking about it.
Yeah, of course. Just thinking about it. We understand.
All right. Does anyone have any questions or suggestions before we move on to our announcements?
Well, I'll just say another strategy that we used were when we identified companies that were stressed, looking for people, we called the CEO and asked if we can meet to see how we can help them. So when we were invited in, we got a chance to listen to what the issue were and then to together strategize to get them on the same page and kind of custom make our assessment to fit them.
Okay. And this question just popped in my mind, but do you think that CEOs or maybe point of contacts at different em employer or different employers will be open to like a virtual meeting or virtual lunch and learn or anything like that?
Yes, yes. Actually, we just did this a couple of months ago. I think I shared it with you, Sister Leonardo. I call you Sister Leonardo. Not another. We reached out to, we did a list of solar companies. We invited them all to a learn. We call it Coffee with New Start. And out of that, we've got people that are there. What is it? Stellar, forget their name, but they're hiring now, some of our participants. So you're going to get someone. So we just invite them to see, let's address the employment issue and retention. We can help, with that title, they'll come and then you can kind of do a selling point on your program.
Okay.
And I do have that information, and I'll make sure, if I haven't sent that over, I'll make sure I sent that over to Melinda and Donna.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh yes, I did. I sent you the actual video of the event.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? I think we made some good progress in 50 minutes. Okay. So some announcements that we have, and I apologize, I see a typo on here. So please forgive me. But next, oh, okay, well, actually disregard this whole, hold on. Uh-oh. 1 second, guys, sorry. I thought I was sharing my screen.
So we haven't seen whatever typo you were concerned about.
Good, yeah, I thought I was looking at it and I thought I was sharing it. Okay, good. I'm like, okay.
Can I share one last thing?
Sure.
Yep.
I don't know if I keep referring to Carolyn because she's awesome. We drove around Wilson, but we drove around the line where the mass transit goes, and we were stopping into mom and pop shops, little plumbing agencies, you know. So we came across a truck repair shop, and I told them who we were. I had a flyer. I said, listen, we work with Justice and Barber, job ready people. So how can we help you? And through that interaction, Carolyn, you want to kind of finish that up real quick?
We talking the diesel mechanic?
Yes, yes.
So he initially said that he did not have the capacity to add additional staff, although he had the work. And so we had a program, a subsidized job program that allowed us to pay because of the training, the nature of the training as a diesel mechanic, that allowed us to pay the salary for the individual that we referred for a 3-month period of time. And then he would have to pick up the salary in the 4th month. And not only did he do that and then pick up the salary in the 4th month, he also, because he was so impressed with the young man, he ended up sending him to school to become his deep panic. Even when the young man had gotten in trouble later and was gone for a while, when he came back, we were trying to get him a job, and it was hard because he, of his record. So I said, well, you know what? This man thought so much of you. Why don't you go back out to him? And he did. And the man did, in fact, hire him back.
And his business went from 5 days a week to 7 days a week.
Yes,
So it was
right.
a win-win.
Right.
Nice. All right. And I can hear the passion in Mr. Johnson and Carolyn Perry. I hear the passion in your voice, and that's great. That's great. What you guys are doing, and we do hope that you guys will continue to be a part of this committee and just sharing your thoughts and ideas with us and your strategies and how we can just work together to help this win-win situation, because we definitely want that for Wake County, to have that win-win situation with employers, as well as getting folks who are justice involved back to work, so that we can have better communities, as well as they will be able to feed their families and live with stability. So appreciate that. All right, so quick announcements. We're having our next criminal record expungement clinic from no to yes on Thursday, February 3rd. That is Thursday, right, Leonardo? Okay, yes, Thursday, February 3rd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Right now, there is an opportunity for local organizations to apply for the Wake Partners Grant. They're offering up to $25,000.
$25,000.
Yeah, for organizations that are assisting individuals who are justice involved. We do have a link, so we'll send that out. We'll email it to you. So if your organization is interested in applying, you can go ahead and apply. The deadline is February 11th. Our next big Wake LRC Council meeting is scheduled for Thursday, February 24th from 1 p.m. to 2:30. And then, of course, our next employment subcommittee meeting will be March 24th at the same time in the same place. Do you guys have any announcements, something that you want to let us know that you guys have coming up in your organizations, or any committees that you're involved in? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna add, we do have a we are doing a virtual job fair. Well, we have one on February 18th, and then maybe the next one, but we do have one April 15th that is a second chance job fair. And so I know that fell low on your list as far as priorities go, but we are partnering with the Durham LRC, and
okay.
Don't really know what that looks like yet, but would love to partner with the Wake LRC as well. So that might be something to consider. We only have one other meeting before that, so that's why I'm mentioning it now. Again, I'm not sure what that partnership looks like at this point. Right now, we have their logo on our website. So, if the extent of that means that we're just getting the word out to more people, we do serve, obviously everybody knows we serve women, but it's a virtual event. And so, job seekers are not on video. They interact with the employers via chat. So definitely that link could be sent out to anybody to join. So it's something I'm happy to talk to people about on a smaller basis if it's something that we want to explore.
Okay, yes, I think that would be great. One time we did an event with NC State, and what we did was bring the job seekers here and use one of the conference room, and we just showed them on the screen. They listened to what the employers had to say. They could ask them questions, see their faces. The job seekers were there. They weren't able to see them, but they could see the employers. And then if they were interested, they could use the computers right here at the NC Work Center afterwards. So if you want to do something like that, I'm happy to help set that up with you. But thanks for, you said that was April 13th or 15th?
April 15th. And I guess April is reentry month.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so.
Perfect.
It is, Megan, and I'd like to speak with you afterwards. I think I'm going to let Melinda correct me if I'm correct, but we are definitely, if there's an opportunity to partner, we are really interested. You're right behind us here in Wake County,
Yeah.
so I think it would be a missed opportunity to not connect. So
Yeah.
let's see if we can talk even after today's meeting or tomorrow sometime.
Sounds
So,
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Mhm.
I couldn't agree more.
All right. Any other announcements?
I just wanted to add, I'm just sitting in on a bunch of these meetings as part of my training for the new community development specialist role. But yeah, my name is Irene Lawrence from DPS. And yeah, just wanted to remind y'all to just send any reentry events that you have to Taisha Young. I put her email in the chat. She's the new like sender outer of reentry events like across the state, or if you want, we can send things out only to like one county or two, because we have the county list too. So anytime you have things, just send them to her, not just for reentry month, but anytime. And of course, yeah, April is second chance month. So
Okay.
I like to say that I didn't know if you introduced yourself earlier, but I like to say she is awesome. Irene Lawrence is awesome. She's been sitting out. She's really helped us get into a lot of places, but now, you know, you have another person in that position. But I just wanted to say in public, thank you so much for your support and your help. You're awesome.
yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thanks for having me randomly. Nice to learn about what y'all do.
Right, you're always welcome.
Okay, great. So this is our contact information for Melinda and myself. If you guys have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. I will say for myself, it's better if you can text me. I'll respond so much faster if you like, but this is our contact information.
Yeah.
And
And I would
go
just
ahead.
say as a Gen Xer, email is always good.
Cool. So it is now 3 p.m. This concludes our meeting. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope to see you at the large council meeting if you can make it, but definitely on March 24th. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your afternoon and see you soon.